Hi everyone, I'm just back with another update. I've got quite a lot to talk about really in this update video. A lot has happened since like in the last month. It's been just crazy. So I'll just start with the round. I've done round 20 this week on 5 mg, so I've upped my dose. The chelation itself's fine, it's been going alright, it's just been generally normal. There's been a lot of other things happening in my life that are really causing a lot of stress, so I'm not doing very well. Prior to this, like, it's not fair to say that this is anything to do with the chelation, because I don't think it is. I don't think I'm in a dump or anything. I just feel like my life circumstances are causing a ton of stress and then exacerbation, really bad symptoms. So before this come on, I was doing quite well. Like, I was having days where the derealization was like a 4 out of 10. So I was 5 out of 10. Like, I was able to just manage it and get on with my day. Like, obviously it was still there, but I thought, well, it's fading away. Like, I could just kind of like leave it to like be there whilst I kind of got through my days, and then my mood was getting better as well. So I was having like days where I was like a 7. Like, I like to rate things on scales of 1 to 10 just to give you a bit of perspective. But yeah, I was doing alright. And then I split up with my boyfriend. I think, did I mention this last video? I don't think I did. Because it's been over a month now since we've been separated, but it's kind of like hit us really hard. It was my decision, but it's like, I'm not going to go into it in this video, but it's just like, it's a lot to do with my health and stuff, and just like the pressure of having a relationship was just a lot, but then not having a relationship hit us quite hard. And then also I took some T4 medication. I don't know if I mentioned that as well in the last video. It's been quite a while. But I took some T4 medication about 3 weeks ago. I don't think I have mentioned it, because I was trying to optimise my thyroid levels. And ever since then, I was just so ill. Like, I can't even describe. Probably maybe as ill as I was when this all happened not 2 years ago, but a year and a half ago. Like, bedbound ill and mental health horrendous. And ever since then I've just been trying to like climb my way back up. It's been a bit like the tyrosine incident, but worse, because it's still ongoing. But I don't know if this is because of the T4 still, because there's other things that are going on which I'll tell you about. But yeah, like, I only had one 50 mg dose of levothyroxine, and 2 days later I was being violently sick. I couldn't eat, like, I thought I was dying, and I just had to stay in bed for 3 days, and then I've just been like a mess really since then. Just, I mean, my health physically has gotten to get a little bit better, but my mental health since then has just been awful. Like, just so flat and apathy, but like no interest, no feelings, just numb, anxious, just horrible. Like, I'm fucking sick of it really. Like, I feel fed up because I was doing so well, and it's just all crashed into this. All off one stupid dose of T4. And the thing is, T4 medication has a ridiculously long half-life of 6 or 7 days. So the whole dose of T4 stays in your system for 5 weeks roughly, for it to actually completely wear off. 5 weeks. So it's been 3 weeks. So, I mean, I don't know if it's got anything to do with the T4, how I'm feeling at the minute, because I'll tell you other things. So with the stress of the breakup, I started smoking again, and I haven't smoked for about a year. For some reason, I just, one of my friends had a cigarette, and I had a cigarette from her, and then I bought some cigarettes. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have a few cigarettes because it's stress. You can tell by my face as well, like, I'm covered in acne. I look terrible. My face is all puffed up and red. Anyway, smoking again, so I broke out with loads of acne here as soon as I started smoking. I felt like my head was like full of toxins of the cigarettes. So I stopped smoking 5 days ago. So I'm having nicotine withdrawal. I was smoking for like 2-3 weeks, so nicotine withdrawal from that. Then I went. Well, I'm trying to conclude on the worst possible thing, because I want to like kind of put everything in perspective. I'm just seeing what else is going on, because I've got it written down. Oh yeah, I've just got like uni work piled up as well, that I need to get done. So there's all that stress, right? And being on my own and being single and just like managing on my own and just not really having anyone around. And then I found out that like a week ago, I had an MRI privately on my brain because I wanted to rule anything out, and I found out that I've got a pituitary tumour, which is 8mm in size. So it's about the size of a pea. But I've got a tumour, but it's most likely benign. But I have to have like, I have to see a neurologist. Next month on the 19th of May, I see my neurologist, but I don't know what they're gonna do, and I feel like just like, so basically, pituitary tumours can cause all sorts of different things, because your pituitary gland is like the master gland of hormones. So pituitary tumours basically disrupt the function of the gland itself. I think I've had this tumour for at least 3 years, because I had a test 3 years ago for like cortisol and prolactin, which were high, but the doctors didn't do anything about it. And honestly, I'm furious, because I feel so belittled and like gaslighted by the medical professionals in the NHS. I'm like actually really reluctant to even see them, but I need to, because this isn't something that I can just like pay for tests for or whatever. Like I had to have a private MRI. I begged them for an MRI, and they were like, well, we need to refer you to a neurologist first. Like, I'm just waiting months and months and months when I could be finding the answers out myself. So when I spoke to the doctor 3 years ago about a pituitary tumour and Cushing's disease, because I was sure then I had Cushing's disease. Like, I get hairs growing on my face, like my acne, you can see like how bad my skin is. My face is like all puffy and like all that. I've got all the classic signs of Cushing's disease. And when I mentioned it 3 years ago, my GP basically just sat in the office, right? He brought up a Google image of someone with Cushing's disease, and it was just like this fat woman. It was like a cartoon drawing, and he pointed it and went, "Does that look like you?" And I was like, "Well, a little bit. Like, what's your point? Why are you," like, he was almost laughing, and like he just totally dismissed it. And he ordered some labs, and the cortisol was high, so then he ordered the 24-hour cortisol test, urine, which was normal. So that was all put to bed. Never got an MRI, so I've had to finally get my own, which has confirmed a pituitary tumour. So they've sent all that information to the neurologist, right? But for one, it's not really a neurologist I should be saying, it's an endocrinologist if this is Cushing's disease, which I'm pretty sure it is, right? Neurologist will want to do another MRI. Most likely they'll want to do it with contrast. I don't want contrast, right? So there's that hurdle. Also, they'll want to try and give us medication, which the medication for a pituitary tumour is generally what's known as a dopamine. It basically increases dopamine to counteract the prolactin and shrinks the tumour. But as we know, anything on this planet to do with heightening my dopamine levels sends us into a totally disorientated state and derealised and anxious. So there's no effing way I'm taking any dopamine medication. Like, if one dose of tyrosine had us in a nervous breakdown for 10 days, there's no way. It's not even worth it. And also people have said that even generally the side effects of that medication are hell, and it doesn't really work. And the only other option is to have surgery. And I'm like, the concept of having brain surgery is absolutely awful. And then like the whole chelation thing with the mercury was like fine, and I thought I was like on top of everything I needed to think about. And then like now I might have to have brain surgery. It's like everything I've worked towards up until this point was like almost obsolete. But I know it wasn't, because I think what happens is mercury accumulates in the pituitary gland. So if you've got your pituitary gland and then it's got mercury as well, like embedded into it, and a tumour, like no wonder I feel fucked up. Like, but obviously I've got this to deal with now, and it's just like I'm so scared about having surgery and then waking up feeling like mentally ill and not being able to help myself or whatever. And even the fact of being like out for surgery for the anaesthetic scares me as well. Like, I don't know, I just think like, what if I don't wake up from it or something? Like, I know it's standard procedure, but I'm just terrified. And I don't trust the NHS at all. Like, I know it sounds really silly, but I've just been gaslighted from them from day one and told that I was mentally ill, and that everything I was presenting to them was like ridiculous or unfathomable. So like, why would I want to trust them to operate on my brain? But I've got no other choice unless I go private, which would cost thousands of pounds. That's if they would even consider sending me for surgery as well, because I'll probably be told that I need to take the medication for a while before I'm even considered for surgery. I mean, that's even if they do an MRI, they've probably said there's nothing bloody there, even though I've got like reports of radiographers about the pituitary tumour. It's just so fucking overwhelming. I can't believe I'm crying on YouTube, but whatever. I do like to document these as well, because I'll look back on this one day in a few months and be like, yeah, like I feel totally different about it now. This exact thing happened when I found out about mercury poisoning, and I was in this state for about 2 weeks because I felt so lost, out of control. And now I feel like I know everything about mercury poisoning, and I'm quite happy to do chelation, and I'm not really scared of it anymore. But I was absolutely terrified. So things can change, obviously, but like, this is different. This is like someone cutting into my brain and removing tissue. Like what if I get like permanent brain damage or something? The other option is, like, obviously this isn't accredited, but because I'm always thinking about holistic ways to help myself. So I was thinking, like, I wonder if I could shrink the tumour by like mega dosing like CBD oil and turmeric and frankincense oil or something. Like, I feel like the way I want to do it is, and I want to be tested for cushions as well, but I feel like they're going to do some sort of flimsy test and everything will be normal, and then they'll just not diagnose us with that and probably not even say the pituitary tumour is a problem. But I am going to go, so I found somewhere online that you can get tests for cushions for, and they're not totally accurate, but like obviously they are an indication. So I've got to go up Edinburgh sometime in the next few weeks for a blood test, which is going to be at 8 in the morning, so I'll have to stay overnight to check for my ACTH levels, which is the hormone that basically is produced by the pituitary gland to stimulate the adrenal glands to produce cortisol. Because as you know, I've got really high cortisol levels all throughout the day. So I think the pituitary tumour is causing the pituitary gland to produce too much ACTH hormone, which is sending signals to my adrenal glands to constantly produce and flood my body with cortisol, which is why I'm in like a constant stress, fight or flight state, which makes a lot of sense. And then also the mercury issue is causing stress as well on my adrenal glands. So it's basically my body's just pumping out, like my adrenal glands are just like overworked. And this is probably what's causing a lot of my symptoms, my adrenals. I haven't been very strict on my adaptogens recently because I sort of weaned off them a little bit, thinking that it was alright, but I think I'm gonna have to like, well, obviously after my tests, I'm gonna have to go back on them, like hammer them, so it'll bring the cortisol down temporarily until I can figure out what I'm gonna do about the high production of it. So I think my options are to, like, ideally this is what I would want to happen. I want to go to I want to get this test, right, hopefully or potentially have some sort of indication for cushions that I can take the neurologist as well. The neurologist will run their own tests, find that I do have cushions. They'll probably offer us medication, in which I'll try and decline, but if not, I'll take it. But in the meantime, I'll be trying to shrink the tumour myself with like some sort of protocol that I'll find on brain tumours, and just aggressively try and do that. 3 months after that or something, I'll have another MRI, I'll review how I feel, and during this time as well, I'll take a lot of cortisol lowering adaptogens. So then I'll have another MRI in 3 months' time to check the size of the pituitary tumour and if it's shrunk. I just need to pray to God that like I'm going to do the right thing, because just the worst nightmare for me is then to not have that work, have surgery, and then like do some sort of damage and be stuck in this horrible body, trapped in a fucking body that's ill, like, and doesn't even recognise people's faces. Like, what kind of fucking living is this? Like, honestly, I was doing fine, and then the realizations went up to like a 7 and an 8 on most days in the last 3 weeks. It's just hell. It's horrible. Like, if you've got derealisation, I think, well, everyone's different, but just be careful if you take T4 medication, because I think this is what set everything off, the stress. I think I've like temporarily put my body into hyperthyroidism until it's worn off or something, I don't know. I've just got a lot going on, just, yeah, if you could send some nice wishes or prayers, that'll be great. If you've got any like experience about pituitary tumours, I would love to hear it, but I'm kind of like doing a lot of research on that as well. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I've done a few other things. I've been taking us some, well, I was starting the Buna protocol, but I've kind of eased up on that now because of all the stress. I don't want to like cause any more problems, but I took some Chinese skullcap, and that actually had quite a nice positive effect on my mental health. Felt quite good. I've been taking GABA supplements as well. I've added a few different things, but really insignificant compared to what I've got going on as well in my personal life. Not really worth mentioning. I don't really know what else to say. I'm just like all fucked up at the minute. My head's a mess. Like, my head is buzzing with all this stress. And I'm due on as well, so that's brilliant. So it's just a big shitstorm of shit and mental health panic attacks. So anyway, I'll publish this video reluctantly, even though like I look at absolute disgrace. And I'll probably update you in a couple more rounds, and like hopefully everything would have settled by then, and I might have seen my neurologist, I don't know. But I'm going to stick at 5 mg ELA for a little while, just to keep things level. I was going to add some DMPS, but again, I don't want to do any more stress or whatever. I don't know, I'll see how I feel. I'm just all confused. Right, thanks for watching.